Hello, my dear friends. I'm happy to see you again, and it's gonna be my new video regarding chat app. The stack of technologies that we are using here is gonna be Angular, nodejs, and socket.io. For some of you, it might be interesting to understand some new technologies and etc. And I hope you will enjoy during watching the video. So please subscribe, because put the like button, because a lot of you watching it without subscriptions, and I really appreciate it if you subscribe on my channel. And another one point that I want to make here, the reason why I was absent for a long period of time, because currently I'm busy in my current job, and also I started teaching some students, but this course is almost finished, so I will try to do more videos for you, and enjoy the video. And let's begin this new video. So first of all, what we need to do, it's uh, we need console. Oh, I forgot how to block new videos. Okay, where is the terminal? Yeah, we need it. So I already created a folder for our app, and also because we're gonna use Angular and Node.js, we need to differentiate this. So for Angular, I'm gonna use client folder, and for Node, it's gonna be just here. So first of all, let's do npm init here. We don't need anything here for now. Okay. npm init is gonna create a package.json file, and for backend part, for Node.js especially, we're gonna need few things. Not sure that we're gonna need course, but let's install it. Course, then express nodemon to build our app, and socket.io. That's the whole thing that we need for this. And to create Angular app, we're gonna use Angular CLI for this, so it's pretty easy to do with it. You need to go to, where is it? Not what I needed. They changed something probably. Yeah. So angular.io CLI, and here you need to install global CLI, and to create a project you just need to do ng new, and actually I'm gonna remove this folder for now. Trash, yes. And create, we're gonna use another terminal, ng new client. Okay, it doesn't know ng command. Let's try in another way. Here our folder. Here we're gonna run git bash. Not sure why I don't have it here. Okay, let's run in terminal. A new version. I don't need this. Chat. I need chat folder here. And ng new client. Why it doesn't know? Okay, let's try then to install. I'm not sure what to run, but I had it before, I'm sure. But as all you know, some troubles could happen during. But here also we need a new file for server. we're gonna call it server.js, and it's gonna be our backend part. The new client. Yeah, now it's working. Okay, let's work on server side for now. Also in package.json we need a command to run up a server. For this we're gonna use let's call it serve, and by this command we're gonna run nodejs server.js like this. And here to some basic during the install using CLI, Angular will ask some questions. Do you want to use strict mode? Routing do you need to know? What do you want to use? Which preprocessor? I'm gonna use SCSS because it's easier for me. But I'm sure for most of us we already knew what is preprocessors for CSS, so it's just easier. So let's start working on our backend part. We're gonna need here express equal require. It's gonna be express. Then let's copy for course. Then gonna be our course. Then we need to initiate an app. We need by app, and here call the function express. Then we're gonna need HTTP. For this we're gonna need provide a module for HTTP and create a server and pass here our app. With this we're gonna establish our connection, and also we need to do here http dot listen on port let it be 2000, and call arrow function once callback. Once our port is running like server, we're gonna print something server is running like this. And then we, yeah, in general it's gonna be like the most basic thing to start our server, but we're gonna use socket. And maybe you asking yourself, what is it? Socket.io is a thing that like real-time messages event triggering on backend, frontend once someone emit an event. So it's real-time thing happened on clients, and multiple clients could connect to one server, and once one client trigger an action, another client will receive it. So it's like streaming data between clients. So you see, for example, here, like different things happened. Dun, dun, dun. And on socket.io, you could read different documentation, try to understand how to work with it, and just in general, it's just a thing that client, in our case, it's browser connected to server, and once some other client, for example, connected, we could broadcast different messages like chat, for example. Client typed something, we emit this event on one client, send action to server, and then from server we broadcast this to our all clients in specific room, or we could emit this action to specific user. So it's a pretty cool thing to do. So we're gonna start doing things from server side, and then on the client we're gonna use what we created on server. So to use a socket, you need first of all create a variable .io, for example, which is required. We're gonna import our socket IO, then and immediately call it and pass here our HTTP server with some parameters. So by default here available course and some other parameters that we don't need, but in our case you could specify which methods allow it by course, type of get, post, etc. Then origin, which allowed, not allowed, but we're gonna allow all origins, so it's not our case. So here you can pass different parameters for your socket.io connection. Then what we're gonna use? Then we need basically we're gonna create some. We don't need it right now, but let's create it. Some basic request response endpoint, just a getter, and here we just send hello, like this. Doesn't matter actually. Then what we gonna need, because it will be chat but actually not multi-room, we need to have the list of users. For this I'm gonna create a variable called user list, and for our case we're gonna use map. It's almost like arrays, but identifiers here could be unique. You can use different methods like set, get, clear, get keys, and etc. So it's pretty useful in some particular cases. Okay, to establish our connection, we need pass an event for our variable IO that we created with sockets. We have connection event for our WebSocket server, and here we have one parameter. Once client is connected to our server, we're gonna retrieve from it socket. Socket contains different parameters. It could be, we could pass this query username, for example, that we're gonna do later on. It has unique ID and etc. So it's a basic information about your client. What we're gonna do this? We first of all gonna create few functions which gonna take care about our user list. One of them will be get user. Here we're gonna pass a username and ID of our user. It's basically we're gonna have the list of users right now connected to our kind of room, but we do not gonna create like multi-room chat. It's gonna be just one room, but still with a list of users. So what we need to do here, if user list already still don't have this username, so users in our user list will be unique by username. Then we're gonna do user list add set. The key will be our username, and here we're gonna use set of IDs. So we could have the same username, but the list of IDs will be different. And here else, if someone already, we have the user with this name in our list, then we just get the sets of IDs by username and add a new ID inside our set. And another one function that we're gonna need here is to delete user. Once it's connected, we're gonna need to delete. We have the same parameters here, username and ID, and we just check if user list has this user name, then we're gonna do something. We're gonna retrieve user IDs, user list get username. Then we check if user ID's size equals 0. So if this username doesn't have IDs, I'm gonna do user list delete this username. Like this. So let's begin with connection. To do something we need actually. So once the user connected, we're gonna do the next thing. Here we're gonna get the user name. To get it, once it connected, we're gonna pass it in query on our front-end side, but on backend we have a property in our socket handshake, and handshake has query, and in query we're gonna pass username. You'll see how to do it later on. And here we're gonna add user with our username, and for this we're gonna use socket.id. And we're gonna add by this our user to the list. Then to all connected clients we need broadcast and here emit our user list, and here it's gonna be an array of gonna use spread user list, and here keys, the name of why we are doing this, because user list keys has some methods. It's not a collection, it's and it's not an array, it's array with some methods, and it's not possible to pass here methods with the list of users. So we need to get from keys only strings, and by this by spread we like remove methods and get only string parameters, so it's really useful. And what broadcasts do, it emit an action to all connected clients. So to emit just for one, we're gonna do the same but without broadcasting. So when we use socket emit, that means that we trigger an action only for current connection but broadcast for all connection. So it's the difference. And also here we're gonna need a few more things. Once on the front-end side will trigger emit message, we're gonna retrieve from front-end message, which we need to broadcast to all other clients. So message broadcast, and here we're gonna send it as an object. One property is gonna be message, SG, and another one is gonna be username, from which user we get this message, and here we pass username like this. And another event, once client disconnected, we need to remove it from user list. It's a standard action for socket.io. Also here we could have a reason why it happened. So it's like few basic things here, but we don't care about this. We're just gonna call here remove user, username, and socket.id. That's what we have. And this seems like that's all what we have for our backend part. Let's actually check npm run serve if it's working. Yeah, and something is going on. Local host 3000. Yeah. We're done with server side. The next part that we're gonna do, we need to work with our Angular thing. Here we're gonna need to install socket, the name of it I forget, .io client package. This one we're gonna use for I need to do it in client folder. This one we're gonna use to connect to our backend side. And here let's run build to do initial build here. And what we're gonna need? We're gonna need to, let's create here containers and components folder. I set components. In general, in Angular, we have kind of two different components. One of them dummy, another one of them smart. Smart actually doing different kind of logic, like get data from server, doing some actions. But dummy components doing minimal thing. So that's the biggest difference, I would say. Generate component. Let's call it chat. It's gonna work. Yeah, chat. But this I need on the. Let's remove it here. It's not the front level. I need it inside of app components. Here we have chat, and in our app component, to run our project, we can use npm run start. Here in package.json, if you use CLI, you will have some basic scripts which helps you to work with Angular. And in app component, we just call app chat like this. Did this add our app component? No. Why? Branch chat. Yes, chat component. We needed to add to module declarations here. Chat component and port it like this. Yeah, compile it, and it's gonna be on, I believe, on localhost 200. Yeah, chat works. Okay, and we're gonna need another stupid component. Like one of them was smart. This one is gonna be stupid. This one we're gonna need to input username component. A lot of mistakes. The names, etc. Rename components. Let's keep username as it is. Not a big deal, I would say. I don't want to refactor everything. So first of all, let's start with our what is it? Chat component. Let's define here some things for HTML. Probably I'm gonna use Bootstrap for this. No. Yeah, let's work like this. No, I don't need. I would say container. It's for our chat. Then we're gonna use here app a username component. Then we're gonna need some title, I would say. Content programming chat app. This. Then container for our chat box. Inside of it, we're gonna have two things. One of them is gonna be user list. Here I have chat box user list. Here to user list, and later on we're gonna print here the list of users once we retrieve them from backend. So let's call it class chat box user active like this, and here later on we're gonna have the list of users. And another one thing, after chat box we're gonna need messages list, I would say. Here we're gonna collect all messages that we get from again, messages, and we're gonna add it later. Let's work on yeah, empty callback. Let's work probably on our username component just to cover this part, and that's it. So for username, we're gonna need, okay, already something. We're gonna need just div here, and we're gonna need input where user could type his name, and inside this input we're gonna need here username variable. By default it's gonna be empty string, and here we're gonna use ng model to have two-way data binding, and here username, and to use it we need import forms model, form module, forms module. What is wrong with here? Forms module. I don't know why it doesn't want to import. Module here, forms. Right now we're gonna be able to use ng model here, and then what we need to do next is to have a button on which we're gonna click and set username, and the function is gonna be called set username. Let's say gonna copy this and use in our username component here. What it's gonna do, we don't need only need here, remove it. We're gonna have so in Angular it's possible to define input output from the child component, and here we're gonna use output to pass the username from child component. For this we need to define new event emitter with type of data that we're gonna pass. It's gonna be string, and call it. And here in set username, simply we're gonna do this username event emit. It's like the work with socket.io looks the same as with events in Angular. What talking about? this here expected 0 arguments but get 1. Here you want to have a void what function is gonna return, I believe. Yeah, not sure what. Okay, no issues for now. And then we need to handle this output username event, and somehow we need to update the username. So let's call it username update, and here we have an event, and this event is gonna be the variable that we retrieve from component child. And here also I'm gonna add ngIf, so if we already define a username, then we don't need to see this thing anymore. So, and this one we're gonna copy, and inside of chat component we're gonna define another variable, user name equal string empty, and our function for username update gonna retrieve a parameter name. It's gonna be string, this return void, and what we need to do here is username equal name. Then here the most interesting part is coming. Here we have we will need message equal string. It's gonna be used for chat box. Then we have a message list here to show them for each client. It's gonna have it's gonna be collection of them. First property is gonna be message. Another one, the username, gonna be string, and the last one is mine, to understand from it's our message or another user, and it's gonna be collection. By default it's gonna be empty, and also we need here user list. It's gonna be collection of strings equal this. And the last one, but not the less important, is gonna be socket. It will have type any, and for this we need to import all as io from socket io client, like this. So let's establish our connection. We're gonna do it once we said don't need init, I believe. Here we're gonna connect once the user is set his name. So here we're gonna do the next thing, this socket equal io, the socket io client that we import, and it has a function to connect io. Here we're gonna have localhost 3000, but also it's useful to use here some variable, and here we're gonna need to add, I would say, or let's have here also brackets, not brackets, I don't remember the name of it, and here user name equal name. This thing we need to pass to backend. As you remember, we added here handshake query username that we're gonna pass this query. So the same thing we're doing here, gonna pass our query username. Funny thing, so we need to handle socket on the event when we get the user list. So for this we need on here user list. When this event happened, we're gonna use here a callback. From backend we're gonna retrieve here user list. Actually it's gonna be string array of strings. Then we're gonna do this arrow function and this user list equal user list. So basically just set it to our user list. Then we need to send to backend. Probably it's better to do up here. So once we update a username, we need to emit an action to set a username. Here can I use name? And then we need to handle action when we broadcast messages. So this one. So once someone type a new message, we need to handle it. So we check in. We like kind of subscribing to messages from server, and this one is gonna be an object with message property string and user name string and arrow function here. And once we get data, let's check that we have data. Once we get data, we gonna do the next thing. We push this message in our message list. Push the object message data message username data username and mine gonna be false, like this. And we need another function once we want to send a message. Here it's gonna be type void, and when we send in a message we need to do this socket emit message event message with this message. Then we need to do the same thing here to add it to message list, but right now it's gonna be this this, and it's gonna be from us. Then we need true. and this message we need to set again as empty line, like this. Let's switch to back to HTML. Right now we have user list, messages list, and everything that we need. Output username event, not username component. What does it mean? No errors here. Strange error. I don't have, wait, wrong import Angular core. This automatic imports doing some hell. So let's switch to our chat. So right now we have user list, message list, and whatever we need. So let's print here user list. For this we're gonna use ng4 directive. It's a structural directives. We have like in general 3 type of directives in Angular. Components. One of them it's a directive but with template URL. Structural and attribute directive. So structural directives they could somehow change the DOM, and attribute directive changes just appearance of our elements. So here we're gonna have user of user list, and inside of it we're gonna print our user. This. Then regarding chat box, for each message we're gonna use ng4 the same here, message of message list, and here we're gonna need to use attribute directive ng class, and what it's gonna do, it's gonna set class mine if message mine is true, and by this we're gonna move message to the right or to the left side. So it's pretty useful thing. Here we're gonna need maybe, yeah, let's copy this name, messages, let's call it just message. Inside of it, it's gonna be one more if, I would say, msg. The names, yeah, that message, let's call it message box. And here we're gonna need to have b, where we're gonna add class name, and here we put message username. Here we add separator here, and this one gonna be a message. This. And the last thing that we're gonna add here, it's gonna be the things that by which we're gonna be able to type a message. For this we're gonna use ng model again here, and it's gonna be message, and here we need button, click, and here and send message function. And okay, like this. Okay, tutu, send a message. Hello. 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 Tutu. Yeah, the style's a bit broken, but general already something, I would say. So just need to add some styles. I'll do it without your attention, but yeah. And then I'll show you the final result. So I just add some basic styles for our app. Looks like this. Draw, username, friend, hello, and I've just finished the video about chat app. So looks like this, nothing critical. It looks not so bad, I would say. It could be worse, but I think it's good enough. So we did it, and I'm really happy about this because I didn't see and didn't do anything regarding videos for my channel, and I'm happy back, and I will try to do as much as possible. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please subscribe, press the like button, leave a comment. I will be really happy. And see you the next video. Bye bye.